Hey, Chris Liepe here with Slow Cheetah, Red Hot Chili Peppers off the Stadium Arcadium album, and we have a lead vocals out version of Slow Cheetah. This means we get to dive in to the masterful, artistic, meticulous John Frusciante background vocals. I'm so excited to hear these in this context. And we're going to notice the imperfections are what's going to make these things so special. And when I say imperfections, I don't mean things that are glaringly off. I mean, I don't hear any tuning. I mean, there's dips and pitches, there's subtleties in timing, but the phrasing and his tone and the way he doubles and falls behind, lays back behind the lead vocals, it's absolutely incredible. And also the range that he displays and the way that he melds tone with the lead vocals. If you want to get better at backing vocals, there is no better person to study, in my opinion, in rock music than John Frusciante. So let's get into this and dissect what he's doing, try some things with our own voices, and be inspired. If you'd like more help with your own voice, particularly in the areas of ear training and expanding your range, things that are going to come in really handy when doing vocals like this, click the link below and join my free voice course. That's the best place to start. And then there's lots of ways that you and I can work together from there if you'd like me to be your vocal coach. Okay, here we go. Now, the first thing that we need to notice here is that he's doubled. This is panned left and right, leaving room for that lead vocal, and also making it easier to remove from the master track. This is all chest voice, but he's very light. And this is something that you're going to notice. He's not pushing. He's leaving the pushing and the presence to the lead vocal. Dressed like a wedding cake. You can even hear how he closes that vowel up a little bit. Cake, cake, cake. And he lightens up on that note. But not too much. He's got this sense that there's a little bit more energy there. The reason I'm going so deep into just this one line is because you're going to hear this all over his background vocals, and we best not miss it. Dynamics are so important when it comes to laying down good background vocals. He's working with the vowels based on what the lead vocal's doing, and he's walking this balance between being another part in the band vocally and melding with what the lead vocals are doing. And the vowel manipulation, the way he's not pushing too much, but a little bit more, huge. Listen to how he does it. Run, he throws that run, Why try and run away? Softening back here. Sounds like they way. He's holding there, and then there's a little bit of the E, that note in there as well. Now we get to the first instantiation of how he backs in the chorus, using his head voice. Now listen to his tone. This is head voice, slow. This is a low larynx position, and this is a lot of closure. This isn't slow cheetah come. Not that at all. It is very, very dark. How he's stepping down there. Slow cheetah come before Less vibrato than what I just used there. And notice how straight that he is, but he's not trying to be like choir boy straight, right? This isn't slow cheetah come before my forest. When I do that, if I try to take all the vibrato out of there, I end up sounding off pitch kind of, and really kind of tacky sounding. So there's this balance that you have to walk as a background vocalist, especially in this context. We don't want slow cheetah come before my forest. I'm trying to be really straight, and it sounds tentative, and I think tacky is the best word. If I just put a little bit of character behind it, not too much. We don't want slow cheetah come before my forest. And I've worked with singers who, when asked to do background vocals, they can't get rid of that, pizzazz. We don't want to be pizzazz, but we don't want to be trying to be so straight that we can't make it happen. John is walking this perfect line of slow cheetah come before my forest. There's just enough vibrato, there's just enough rhythmic sense, there's just enough vibe to make this work. The doubling is helping a lot too. Listening on. Looks like it's on today. Again, lower larynx. Day. Dropped jaw. Ah. This is not a nasal presentation either. Looks like it's on today. No. Looks like it's on today. There's a little bit of nasality going on, but this is a forward dropped, low larynx, open throat positioning that's really complementing what's going on. Notice he didn't looks like I did. Stays up. Also notice the timing. Slow cheetah comes so euphoric. He's dragging that beat quite a bit. This is important too. We want, as a vocalist, to be reactionary to the vibe of the track, but as a background vocalist, we especially want to be even reactionary to the lead vocal, which means our pocket is going to be behind everybody. The background vocalist is the last in line. At the same time, there's a good amount of syncopation there. So euphoric, just in the way that the rhythm is. So this makes it really a difficult thing to sing with, to groove with, because he is anticipatory with his rhythm, but needs to be dragging in the pocket. I'm going to sing with him a couple times here. Slow cheetah. The timing, right? Slow cheetah coming so euphoric. Slow cheetah coming so euphoric. No matter what they say. That's difficult. It's harder than you might think to lay back in the beat and still maintain that syncopation. I love that coming down there. Say, that's how straight he is on that. But then as he comes down, he gives it a little bit of character. You can hear, hey. Again, not as much vibrato. Say, just a little bit of vibrato there at the end. We're going to do more with the chorus arranging here in a little bit.
No matter what they say.
Now we get to hear the layering that happens in these background vocals. The John Frusciante choir. 2 different parts, doubles. It's really compelling, really fun to hear in this context. Today, slow Cheetah come. And that's high. Slow. What I have to do to maintain good closure and make sure that that note is round enough, I have to make sure that I don't raise my larynx and reach for that note. That's the tendency even when we're going in head voice to go higher, we tend to slow. Doesn't work. We've got to have slow. And what I'm doing is I'm picturing, in addition to the drop larynx and very open throat, raised soft palate, very little nasality, I'm kind of picturing a bit of a yawn to get that sort of muscle memory triggered. Yeah. Now, the other challenge here is we want to be less vibrato-y than I tend to be when I'm getting those notes. And I tend to add more vibrato when I'm singing that high because it helps with, it masks pitch problems, right? But if you listen to what he's doing here, we'll get to that effect in a minute. That's really cool. But we've got this very straight sigh. And you can hear some imperfections in there, just like you can hear in my voice. Little bits of things going on, little pitch dips. I love that if this was tuned, there wasn't much tuning going on. You still hear that wonderful natural chorusing effect of these doubles. Let's give this a try. Slow cheetah come before my forest. Looks like it's on today. Slow cheetah come, it's so euphoric. Totally started well, ran out of breath. I have to check my breathing to get that line and keep that whole thing going. Breathing is so important in these sections. Slow cheetah come before my forest. Looks like it's on today. Slow cheetah come, it's so euphoric. No matter what they say. Slow cheetah come before my forest. Looks like it's on today. Slow cheetah come, it's so euphoric. No matter what they say. Oof. Slow cheetah come before my forest. Looks like it's on today. Slow cheetah come, it's so euphoric. No matter what they say. So, totally ran out of gas. I started to tense up at the very end of that. So let's listen here to this first part. Slow cheetah come before my forest. Looks like it's on today. that's great. I started to tense up this second time around because I didn't get my breath well. So let's punch from here and see what happens. The other thing that I'm noticing is I have to be really careful not to over-enunciate my consonants. Let the other lower ones do the consonants. Back off on the consonants, which is extra hard up here when I'm high.
Slow cheetah come, it's so euphoric. No matter what they say. Slow cheetah come before my forest. Looks like it's on today. Slow cheetah come today. Slow cheetah come, it's so euphoric. No matter what they say.
If you have the chance to do something like this, you totally should. It is so incredibly challenging, but so gratifying when you feel your voice click in to the rest of the group, especially when you're singing that high. And if you let tension creep in, you're done, because you need to be thinking above the note. You need to be thinking down on those. You can even see it in my chin position. And then you need to be there, but blendy. When I came down, that note, there was too much vibrato. I think it's good enough, but there's definitely a bit more vibrato there than John's version. If I were to workshop this a little bit more, I might tone down the vibrato in that descent. But I'm really happy with my mid-range. Not too much vibrato, not too much pizzazz. I'm happy in general with the way I did that. Now let's talk about that neat sounding reverby thing at the end of this passage, the way that it's produced in John's version. It almost sounds like they've turned his voice into a synth. And what this is a reverb tail that has been automated in. The four background voices have been bussed to an aux track or a subgroup, and then there's an awesome amount of reverb and possibly some delay back there as well that keeps it going. Let me show you.
No matter what they say.
All right, so what I've done is I've bussed all of these to a aux track here in Pro Tools, and there's different ways to do this within different DAWs. The first thing I've done is put a basic reverb in. I just wanted a decent hall digital reverb. The mix is 100%, and I kind of just left everything else stock. I just wanted to surround it with a nice ambience. And then I'm using a multi-delay that is panned out. It has 5 different taps. And you can see that some of these, they're all set to 16th notes with a little bit of variance in terms of milliseconds in each one of these. And then they're panned out left to right. And I have created a EQ where I'm EQing this weird effecty thing with no lows, and I've cut off the highs a little bit. But then I have decided that, you see these volume curves here, this whole section of all 4 of these tracks isn't going to my cool reverb thing until that last sigh thing at the end. And it's also, I've automated them in after the sibilants and out before the cutoff of the note. So that brings us with this, it's just getting that one note, which is so neat. So here's what it sounds like if we listen to this back half. You can hear it sounds like I've grabbed a portion of what's going on, and it repeats almost like someone's playing it on a keyboard.
Slow cheetah come, it's so euphoric, no matter what they say.
And it just keeps going and going. There's a nice trail, which sounds similar to what they did in the original recording. But you can also hear that last note growing a bit, but not too much. It's swelling up, and then it's really high. I'm feeding the most of it right before that last note cuts out.
What they say.
And of course, the chord changes and pretty cool stuff. Experiment with this sort of thing. It doesn't have to be exactly how they did it. In fact, it's probably good if it's not. You learn a ton by trying and being inspired not only from vocals, but from how they work with effects and screwing it up a little bit and coming up with things that work really well. As I was dialing this in, I actually was using a different sort of delay at the beginning and came up with this sort of sound, which isn't anything like what they were using, but I kind of like it. This right here is Echo Boy Jr., and it's more of a tape, dirtier. It introduces some distortion. Just by switching up the delay, you get a really interesting sound. It's very different.
No matter what they say.
It's definitely a little more over the top, but I love how it distorts, it oversaturates. It doesn't quite have that same like synth thing, but I think if I were using this in my own song, I might go a little bit more towards that dirtier analog echo for something. So discovered something new there. Pretty neat, just by kind of messing around with this section. All right, let's take a look at the very back of the song now. Yeah, a lot. Slow cheetah comes. Very much straight there. Good to keep in mind. Starts off without the normal, or without the high harmony. His cutoffs, I'm noticing, are a little bit shorter than mine. Interesting to think about how mine would blend with the lead vocal. I did those without the lead vocal. All things to think about. Cutoffs are very important. Just doing the regular harmony there, and then we beef it up here at the end. There's a little bit of an H in there. They have that neat reverby synthy thing at the end. All right, let's try something. Fun to sing along with John and put my own little phrasing twists and ideas in there based on being inspired by those background vocals and making it my own, a little bit different than the original, intentionally. Again, if you'd like more help with your own voice, if you dig what I'm doing in these videos and you'd like me to come alongside you and be your vocal coach, if you haven't already, join my free vocal course. And there's lots of ways we can work from there together. Again, please like and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for hanging out with me as I dissected these amazing background vocals over this awesome track. We'll see you for more.